Hello, welcome back to Otter Pop Culture. Today we're going over Lady Gaga's new album called Chromatica. So this was produced mostly by Blood Pop. He did a lot of songs. He actually did a song with Justin Bieber. Was the last mainstream that he produced with a a mainstream person. So the fact that he did the full basically the full album with the help of other producers is insane. So I actually have been waiting for this album forever, and it was sad to see that it was going from April to it got moved to May, and so it was just a shit show, definitely with the COVID and everything going on. So this album is intense. It's definitely exactly it's one of those I feel like it's one of those moments when Ariana Grande released Sweetener, you're like, this is nice, this is cool. Like, I like this different sound that she's going for. It sounds so cool that she's giving us a different sound. But there's a piece of you just like, give us a sound that we want, kind of thing, without saying what we want. But weirdly, 3 months later, she comes out with Thank You Next, which is every single song is exactly what we were looking for. The sound, the production was exactly what we all wanted from coming after Dangerous Woman. So no shitting down Sweetener. I love Sweetener, but I feel like that's the thing. I feel like Sweetener was a experience to experimenting different sounds for her, and then she moved on to Thank You Next. I feel like that's exactly what Lady Gaga did. Was pretty much she gave you Joanne, which was an experiment with her sound and everything, and showing you that she can do multiple things, just like Ariana Grande did with Sweetener. And then she's like, okay, I did TV, movies. I wrote a complete soundtrack for the movie I was in. And I show you I can do swing, I show you I can do piano, I show you I can do country, I showed you I can do psychedelic, I show you I can do EDM, I showed you I can do generic pop, I show you I can do, rock pop. She did it, every single type of pop, so I feel like, honestly, she's touched it, and she definitely touched more pop directions in this album too, because I feel like I know it's mostly moved towards the dance pop direction with more 90s sound, with the 90s dance, with a little bit of 80s bit pieces. But the thing to remember is not just American 90s. It's not just I feel like she wasn't. Let me back up. I feel like it wasn't just American 90s that she was giving you 90s dance. I feel like she was also giving you Euro dance, in the 90s or in the 80s kind of direction too. And I feel like I feel like those are the pieces that I feel like some people, I've literally have been listening to this album throughout the whole weekend to kind of get a gist of the whole thing, and kind of write down exactly how I feel about it. So might be a bit of a long video, but I felt like there's some people out there that when they did review it, were upset because everything sounded the same. And I feel like it's a bit of a underestimation of what's going on in this album, because I feel like if you look at gay culture and the sounds that we listen to, and the sounds that we had history of listening to, that were blaring inside our clubs throughout the decades and stuff like that, these type of music was blaring in the clubs. This is what you heard. This is exactly what you heard. You heard Alice is a great example. It's just the way to actually pronounce this whole album is just pretty much gay. It's every bit a song is something I can hear. I feel like this song is immediately something I can hear at the clubs, the bars, like that. So I felt like that's exactly what she wanted to do. I think that this album was meant to be in every single Pride club, bar, float. It was meant for Pride, and I think that's what she was looking for 2020. I think a lot of people were looking for a 2020 kind of bam, I'm out with a great album kind of thing. Due to COVID, it kind of fucked up a lot of things. but I feel like it fucked up her. I feel like it didn't fuck up her album entirely, but it fucked up the more ideal direction that her album could have gone. I heard rumored that it was supposed to be a visual album like the Beyonce album. So I could only imagine what all these individual music videos would have been. Whew, it would have been amazing. It would have just And I also feel like it has a very theatrical cinema direction to it, with the Chromatica 1, 2, and 3 kind of dividing the different pieces of the album, like pretty much Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. And I feel like Act 1 definitely gave you that kind of generic pop with a little more like, not generic pop. It still gives you stuff that they're definitely not playing entirely now. It's one of those things it's one of those things that no one has touched on dance pop in the 90s. No one has touched on that. Everybody's so stuck on the 90s and pop, they forget, or stuck in the 80s and trying to pull out all the much of reference from the 80s. They forget how much the 90s were a huge influence in a lot of pop, a lot of dance, especially now dance too. So it's just like, it's a very underestimated decade, and I think that she definitely brought it in to show you like this is what it sounds like. And I know a shit ton of people are going to follow it, just like they followed Joanne with the country pop kind of direction. They're like, oh, we want to do it too. They're definitely going to, I think this is going to be the edge that puts us into the 90s finally, where we start doing 90s sounding hip-hop, 90s sounding pop, 90s sounding R&B, which is we're already on that direction with R&B already, and we're already on the direction with dance in that kind of direction. I feel like this is exactly what she's actually looking to do, and I think that this is exactly what it is. So let me go through some of the songs I really, really like. So Alice is amazing. I love Alice. It's a great, Chromatica 1 is a great beginning to go into Alice. It's a great beginning song. It takes you completely in. I love her and once again, 90s reference, there's always a woman in the background, like growling like notes in the background, the whoa whoa kind of thing, and she does that with this, and I feel like that's kind of cool to like homage to that direction. Stupid Love is next. We all know that one. Really good song. Instantly, still listen to it this day. It's in my workout playlist. Reno Me with Ariana Grande was a good, cute little direction. It did have to grow on me a little more because it was way more generic than I was expecting, but as it grew, I started to appreciate the combination of their voices together. I think it was really nice. This song is pretty much talking about how it's okay to cry, and it's because you know you can face a lot of things. You can face anything that comes your way. It's pretty much what she's saying. Like, so it's okay to cry it out to get to the next point. And I feel like that's another thing that people don't really think about with her, is that she doesn't give you just bangers for bangers' sake. She gives you her bangers, but at the same time, she also gives you a message in everything. So you might be dancing, you're like, oh, this is what this is about. Oh, okay, this is a bit of a downer, but you don't think about that because this song is blaring out great bops. So anyway, so Reno Me is a great example of that. Free Woman is one of my favorite songs. I know some people that didn't really care for it, but I really, really like it because it really feels like it's pretty much it's talking about pretty much going for what you want. And I feel like that's one of the things she says is like, I'm not nothing without a steady hand. And I think that she kind of points out different parts. She's like, I know I can do this kind of thing, so I have to go for it and just kind of just do it, knowing, like, having faith in myself that I will be okay in the end. And I think that's what she's saying with this. And meanwhile, the blaring of the music is going on, so you're like, yes, but it's very celebratory. Very, like, you can celebrate with it in a way. It's very upbeat kind of thing. Fun Tonight was okay. I definitely couldn't get past the message while listening to the music. Like, the music was great, but I couldn't get past the message. Like, it was pretty much saying, it's pretty much her talking about a night where she's out and she's dealing with a negative mindset. Pretty much saying that she's out, she has a good time, and something comes on, so now she's not having a good time. But I think she's also talking to herself, saying like, we need to fix this. Like, looking in the mirror and just like, we need to fix this. We cannot have, how can we have a good time if we're having this type of like mindset? And I think she's telling herself, like, stop it. Like, have a good time, relax, kind of thing. And I think that's what she's saying. And she does admit, it's like, I'm not having fun tonight. And I think that's what, and it's kind of, it's our own fault, you know? I think it's kind of interesting to have that kind of mindset. It's always been about a boy or about a girl or about some other person that did this and it ruined your life. But it's just like, no, it's just my own mindset that's going on that I need to fix. I think it speaks volumes. I haven't heard that in a lot of songs before. Chromatica 2, going to a transition into 911 was insane. Insane. We already have Chromatica 1 and go into Alice was a nice easy blend, but this took you from orchestra realness. By the way, White C, I don't know who that is, but she killed it for production in this, and there were actual orchestra inside the studio. I looked at the whole thing, at the list of people who were doing different instruments in those orchestra interludes. So it just makes it even more magical. So yeah, so into 911, which one of my friends said it sounded like you're walking through like a sex club kind of thing, which is completely sounds like that. This song is pretty much talking about the role of antipsychotics medication and how the effect it has on her life. And she says, my biggest enemy is me, Papa 911. And I think that when she says Papa 911, it means take another of that pill or medication to kind of relieve yourself from that. And I think that it's very interesting. That's another thing that you're just like, I can get past that message because it's so like it's just so catchy and the rhythm is so catchy too that you don't really think about the message until you actually see it, but it's really nice. Plastic Doll, I thought it was okay. I love the message. She's pretty much talking about how she doesn't like the fact that the society dehumanizes artists and what they're doing, saying like she does lean into the images of what a perfect pop star should look like and everything with the blonde hair. She gave it to blonde by dyeing her hair blonde. She did more kind of like looks that would get her more accepted in the pop culture, but she also sees that there's a flip side to that. It's just like you don't really become human, you know? You become this prop for everybody to sell to other people. And with the help of Skrillex in this, it makes the sound really nicely, and I really do like the sound. I just didn't it didn't really attach to me. Sour Candy is amazing, of course. We all, like, everybody that's reviewed this said Sour Candy is amazing. And it is. Featuring BLACKPINK, amazing, with the help of Burns and Blood Pop, making the sounds really nice. And I know that people say it sounds like Katy Perry's Swish Swish, but I don't think it does. I think it sounds like a 90s dance song. And Katy Perry and Lady Gaga just so happened to do a dance production of a homage to 90s dance. And I think that's just exactly what it is. You can hear the sound in any other songs that came out in that time. This song is pretty much saying about, she's pretty much they're all warning their partner that, like, accept me for my flaws and not to kind of have them change them. And I love BLACKPINK killed it in this. The sound is amazing. Enigma is really nice. It's just Burns' production itself. Very, very gay. Love it for that reason. Replay is very interesting. I just realized a lot of things just by looking up the stuff. But pretty much she says, the scars on my mind are on replay. And not knowing that this song's so catchy that I didn't realize that this song's about PTSD. So she's talked about it very openly that she has a lot of PTSD because she had abusive relationships. She's had abusive, like, she's been raped. She's been a lot of abusive stuff has happened to her in the past. And so a lot of things kind of muster up in herself. But so she talks about that. The scars in my mind play on replay. And this is a sample of Diana Ross's song, It's My House, which is, I was like, this sounds so familiar, but now I know. Going to Chromatica 3, really nice. It got a little more epic. How do you get more epic? But it got more epic, I feel like. it definitely got you ready for this third half, or the third act, which is I was not ready for. I was not ready for. I thought it was gonna be okay. It's gonna be continue what's going on, not knowing that "Sign from Above" featuring Elton John was going to be a complete like dark synth type of like intense like Euro dance exactly type of sound, and it sounds so beautiful. Elton John did a great job. It actually sounds really nice. This song's about pretty much her complicated relationship with her faith. She was raised Catholic and everything, but she has a lot of questions about the faith and Catholicism, about Catholics. Anyway, so yeah, so I really love that one. It just blew my mind. The ending with that whole I forgot what it's called, but a kind of thing, like that's complete Euro. Like that's like if anything, it goes into that more direction of like UK direction, but it's really nice. 1,000 Doves, beautiful. It's the closest thing you're going to get from a ballad for this album. The closest thing. She usually gives us a ballad every single album she has. I think this one she kind of like changed it up a bit. Amazing. Sounds great. Chami, I think his name is, produced this with Blood Pop. And then finally, Babylon, which is one of my favorite songs off of it, is pretty much a voguing song. And I know people keep saying, oh, it sounds like Madonna's Vogue. It does not sound like Madonna's Vogue. It sounds like a song that you got from a dance from the 90s, a dance song from the 90s. That's exactly what it sounds like. There's other songs that has a like sound all over the place. I wish I could name multiple ones. If I could, I would. But I know for sure that there's multiple ones. And so it sounds, yeah, sure, it sounds like Madonna because it's the only mainstream music that did it. But there's a lot of POC artists in the 80s and 90s that did the same sound. Anyway, I love this. I love it. It's easy to vogue to. It's amazing. She just gives a nice ending of just celebration, and I think it's so nice. I love the one line. It says, "Speaking languages and a blood pop moonlight." A little shout out to her producer that worked with this. So this whole album is amazing. I love it. I feel like I more like the first half and the second half more than the middle half, but I do really, really appreciate the middle half too. I give this album a 9 out of 10. I feel like I knocked it down a bit because there was, I think, Plastic Doll, kind of like, and I feel like the middle part kind of made me question what's going on, but once I got what's going on, then I really liked it. But that's pretty much how I see it. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you thought. What was your favorite songs? What was your least favorite songs? Was this the direction you were thinking she was going to go with? And yeah, and that's pretty much it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and all that jazz. And I'll see you all in the next video.